Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a product review, and quite recently on my Instagram I asked you guys whether you'd be interested in seeing more product reviews on my channel, and the response was a pretty overwhelming yes. So I thought I should get to it with product reviews, and coincidentally Nikon recently reached out to me and asked whether I'd like to test out their new camera, the Z50. I'm actually very excited to try it because this camera is marketed towards vloggers. And for you guys that don't know, I actually have a vlogging channel with my partner Dan, and we do a lot of travel vlogging, we do a lot of lifestyle stuff and just general everyday vlogging. So I really was interested to try this camera out because it is marketed towards vloggers. Vlogging actually also fits into my career a lot more than what I actually realize sometimes, and when I'm doing a lot of behind the scenes for YouTube and other social media posts, and sometimes I do forget about having a particular camera for that and what I should be using. So today I am going to use this camera for what it is marketed for, which is vlogging, and I'm going to be doing a bit of behind the scenes from a shoot that I will have tomorrow in Sydney as well. So of course, if you guys have watched my channel before, you'll probably know that I'm not the type of person to sit here and read you every spec of the list for this camera, but I do want to give you a bit more of a hands-on review, and I do want to show you what it can produce in terms of video and photos. So before we do go any further, I do want to thank Nikon for sponsoring this video and reaching out to me. It's very exciting to try part of their mirrorless range, so this will be really interesting to test out the Z50 and see what it's capable of. So at first glance, the Z50 is quite small and lightweight, which is really great. I love anything that is lightweight. I travel a lot for my career and in general, so I do find that when my carry-on baggage doesn't really allow for a lot of heavy gear, I am looking for smaller items to pack in there. And this would be the perfect size for a travel vlogger or for someone who doesn't have a lot of room to move when it comes to heavy gear. It also feels quite comfortable in my hand when I'm holding it. I do have a pretty good grip on it just holding it like this. And it does have a very simplistic menu style on the back, which I'm pretty impressed by as well. It looks very easy to use, which I'm hoping is going to be the case. And I've also noticed that the screen on the back does actually flip down. So you can see that on the back here, the screen will flip down, but it also flips down underneath the camera like this. So when you are doing your vlogging of yourself, you'd be holding it like this and looking at the screen down the bottom. So that is something that I'm not quite used to, and I think I'll probably have to get used to using that feature on this camera. Usually I am used to seeing them at the top of the camera, so that will be something a little bit different. I do find that that is an issue, having the screen at the bottom, because it would be awkward to put a selfie stick on there or to put a tripod underneath if that's what you're using it for, and that kind of defeats the purpose of using that screen to be able to frame up your shot or your video when you are vlogging yourself or taking a selfie shot. So that is a bit of an issue for me. I'm not loving that feature, but I'm assuming it would have been pretty hard for them to put it at the top since the hot shoe is here, and that would have been really awkward for there to be a flip out screen at the top too. I do think that they probably could have put it to the side. I don't really know why that maybe wasn't an option, but maybe something to consider in future for tweaking the aesthetics of the camera. Shortly after filming this clip, I actually had a discussion with Nikon about this particular issue, and they've actually been working closely with a company called SmallRig. SmallRig have actually developed a vlogging plate specifically for the Z50 that fits onto the base of the camera. So as you can see in these clips, it's quite easy to attach and just involves screwing it into the bottom of the camera and then placing your tripod or selfie stick to the left hand side of the camera. You do have quite a number of options to place the tripod or selfie stick into one of the holes on the left hand side or even onto the side of the camera to use portrait mode. This enables you to use the flip down screen with ease when you're vlogging yourself. And I actually think this is a really cool extra that you can purchase in addition to the camera, and it does solve the issue of not being able to see the screen whilst you're vlogging yourself. So one thing I'm pretty excited to try out with this camera in particular is the 120 frames per second video. I am pretty excited to try that out. It's such a small and compact camera, and I'm just very excited to see what it can produce. And also with using the 16 to 50mm lens, I think that's a really great option for a vlogger. I really love that this lens was made for this camera because I do think that that's such an interesting length between 16 to 50. It's not something that you always come across. And I think that it's really handy for vloggers because you're getting that really nice wide angle, but you're also getting something that's better for portraiture as well. So now I'm going to get into talking a little bit more about some of the other specs that this camera has, and then I'm going to show you guys some testing of the video and photos on my photo shoot. Hope you guys enjoy. The Nikon Z50 has been described as a creator's companion. It has 4K video, shoots 120 frames per second in full HD, and a time-lapse function. It's also been described as a lightweight travel companion that helps you capture all of life's moments. It has a flip screen with a touchscreen, which opens up to the bottom of the camera. And it also has Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and SnapBridge, which are all capabilities with the functionality enabling you to wirelessly send images and videos instantly to your smart device for instant social sharing. So the two lenses that I'll be using in this video are going to be the Nikon Z DX 16 to 50mm lens, and that is an f3.5 to 6.3 VR lens. So this lens has been created specifically for the Z50, along with the next lens that I'm about to tell you about, which is the Nikon Z DX 50 to 250mm f4.5 to 6.3 VR lens. So guys, today's review of the Z50 would not be complete if I didn't start trying to vlog myself. Of course, one of the main features of this camera is that it does have the vlogging flip out screen. So I did want to do a quick test with this and tell you guys how I feel about it. So far, there's not too many issues that I found overall with the camera. Everything seems really smooth. The video quality seems fantastic. Unfortunately, with vlogging on myself, I am finding it a little bit hard to hold the camera and get a good grip because I am right-handed and I'm currently using my left hand and left arm to hold the camera up because the grip is actually on the left-hand side now that I'm facing the camera towards me. So that is a little bit of an issue. Also the screen, I am not used to looking at the bottom of the camera to the screen. That's something that I'll also have to get quite used to because I'm quite used to having it up the top of the camera. So that's one thing that I'm finding a little bit strange and a little bit difficult at the moment. One thing that I have noticed though is that I tend to be looking a little bit more into the camera lens, which is not always something that I do with cameras that tend to have the screen at the top. And that's one thing that I've picked up on just in a few minutes of using this to vlog myself. I do find that I'm looking straight into the camera lens, which actually looks better, and that did bother me when I'd looked back on clips previously with other cameras where I was always looking at myself in the screen. I could kind of tell. So I do like that, but maybe that's just me and maybe that's just something that I'm doing because I'm not used to using the screen with this camera. But otherwise, everything else seems to be going along quite smoothly. I'm just finding it a little bit difficult at the moment to hold the camera, but I think I might just need to build a little bit of extra strength in my left arm potentially. So I wanted to give you guys a quick update from this end, and obviously I will be showing you guys the imagery and video that I'll be taking at my photo shoot in Sydney. So you guys will be seeing that in the video now. One of the first things I noticed when I was using the Z50 was that the ISO range was pretty exceptional, and most of these videos and photos that I took were using a higher ISO range than what I would usually use. We only really had a few windows that didn't actually have a lot of direct light, so although we had quite nice natural light coming through, it wasn't quite enough. So they were mostly between 2000 and 4000 ISO, and I thought the Z50 really handled the grain and the noise quite well in terms of using a higher ISO, because this was more of a low light situation and I was pretty impressed by that. All of the videos and photos are unedited, and most of the video was either shot at 60 frames per second, slowed down to half speed, and I also did a clip using 120 frames per second, slowed down to quarter speed. Most of the video and photos were taken using the 16 to 50mm lens. I didn't find myself using the 50 to 250 too much because it was a smaller space that we had to work with, and I did find that the 16 to 50 was perfect for that particular space. However, when I did use the 50 to 250, I did love the quality of it overall, and I really can see how that would be a useful lens for a lot of travel vloggers out there and for anyone that needs to zoom in a bit further to take the shot. Overall, I thought the 16 to 50mm lens was a very impressive and useful lens, and something that I could see myself using most of the time. Another really great point about the Z50 was the eye and face detection system that's integrated into the camera, and I really did find that it was quite quick to focus when I was photographing Cherry's face or filming her. So in summary today, I really want to tell you guys my favorite and not so favorite points of this camera and give you guys kind of a roundup of what I generally think about it. So I actually think it's great that Nikon have introduced a consumer level camera and something that is a little bit more entry level for their mirrorless range. It's also interesting that they have opted for this camera to have a crop sensor too, so I feel like a lot of enthusiasts out there or people who are into vlogging, this is something really great for them because it's not really going to blow the bank in terms of price, but also it's still giving you that really great quality that you want from a camera that's going to be used for vlogging, or if you're just starting out with photography even. It really does seem to have excellent color rendition, and I do love the fact that with the Nikon mirrorless range of cameras and the lenses, you can use those lenses from the Z6, Z7, and you can use them on this camera. So obviously being used on a crop sensor with this camera, it's not going to be completely accurate when you're looking at the ranges, but I think that's really great that you have options there and you don't necessarily need to go and buy a whole new lens kit for this camera. There are other options out there to upgrade to in the mirrorless range. And when I was doing my research as well, apparently there is an adapter you can buy to adapt to the DX and FX lenses in the Nikon range as well. So I think that's really cool too, and it really does open up a world of possibilities with the lenses that you could be using with this camera, and it's just so small and lightweight. I think that it's really cool that it's that versatile as well. I also do love the ISO range of this camera. It ranges from about 100 ISO to 51,200, and I think that's just fabulous as well. Like I keep saying, for such a small camera, it does really pack a punch in terms of its specs, and I think that that's so good for using this camera for a lot of nighttime vlogs or times that you do have low light situations. So I do think that that's a really great feature about this camera as well. The only real downfall I'm actually seeing about this camera at the moment, and the main negative points for me, is the screen, and that's the fact that it does open up towards the bottom of the camera like so. For me, this was really difficult when I was vlogging myself. I did find it difficult to hold the camera and point it at myself because I felt like my arm was just constantly in the way of the screen. I can't really get the best grip on the camera when I'm holding it upright. I feel like I'm used to holding it with my right arm, but I can't really hold it with my right arm when I'm using this camera, so the best grip is by using my left arm, which is definitely not as strong since I'm right-handed. But yeah, that's just my few minor negative points about this camera. Otherwise, I do find that it's a really good option out there for anyone that is starting out with photography and any enthusiasts or amateurs that really do want to get into the mirrorless range as well. I think this is a great entry-level camera, and I also think that vloggers will overall love this camera. I think the quality that you're getting with the video and imagery is just really fantastic in such a small, lightweight camera. That's obviously the other thing that I love about this camera, is the fact that it is so small, lightweight, and it's going to be so easily transportable. It is definitely not putting any strain on my arm to hold it, and that's a really good thing when it comes to traveling, and especially with travel vlogging. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed this hands-on review today of the Nikon Z50, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and if you want to know more about the Z50, I've left a link in the description box below as well, so you can go and check out more information there. And thank you once again to Nikon for sponsoring this video. I hope you guys really did enjoy the review, and let me know if you do want to see more videos like this or more product reviews. Thanks again guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!